Hey y'all, it's Gaming Granny coming at you, and this is Fortnite. We have been playing for about 60 days or 2 months at this point, and we are level 58. Alright. Do not use this video for anything other than entertainment purposes, although it does contain a lot of facts. It also contains some supposition and opinions. So do your own research, come up with your own belief and your own opinion. And as always, you can leave me a comment on here or send me an email. My email is gaminggranny.rocks, all one word, all lowercase, at gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at gaminggranny, y'all. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk just for a few minutes here. I'm going to give some shout outs and then I'm going to talk for a few minutes. But this video has been one of the hardest that I've made, other than the one with baby Dylan in it. So, be prepared for me to be a little emotional for this one, y'all. Okay. Alright, shout outs. I'm just going to shout out a bunch of channels or creators. And if you haven't heard of them, go check them out. What's it going to hurt? It's not going to hurt nothing. Shoot, I didn't know that they could. Well, I guess I should have known. Okay. Shout outs. Charlotte. Carissa Exposed, excuse me. Kier Snyder with a Y. It's Just Chat. True Ball of Wax. Dottie Morgan. Joey D. Uncivil Law. Emily D. Baker. Amanda Pants Does Life. Radiant Brit. Eyeshadow Island. Little Red Y'all. And if I left anybody out, it wasn't on purpose, I swear. I'm trying. Oh, and Backwoods Barbie. Another one is Fundy Fridays. It's kind of a different kind of channel, but it's, you might find it entertaining. Okay, now that I've said the shout outs, and I've told you that this is going to be a very triggering, this is going to be a, very emotional and very triggering story. So if you are a kid, it's time to go. And if you're my grandchildren, Nana says, time to go now. Which means, do not watch this. Alright, now that all the little ones are gone, or we have our earphones on, one or the other or both, I hope. I know I just put out a video last night, and this is definitely not like me, but I just saw a story today that, again, broke my heart in such a way that I had to, I felt compelled to put it on video right away. Okay, now, there were two stories over the weekend that caught my attention, let's say. Now, the first one I'm going to give you, it's just, the only place that covered, the only news that covered the first story, as far as I know, was California local news. On Saturday morning, a church in LA was bombed. And the authorities believe that the motivation behind the bombing was that this church was not friendly to the LGBTQ plus community. Now, I'm going to repeat that one more time, slowly. And then I'm just going to leave it sit there, just like that, because I don't want to bring politics or religion into this. But, since nobody wanted to cover it, I thought that at least it should be mentioned. So, once again, a church last Saturday in downtown Los Angeles was bombed. And the police are saying, the police and officials are saying it was because they were not friendly to the LGBTQ plus community. Okay. Now, the second story comes from California. And as far as I know, California news channels are the only ones that covered it. That's where, no, that's not where I caught on to the story. I caught on to this story because it showed up I was going through the law and crime channels on YouTube. There's two of them. One's called Law and Crime and one's called something else. And you'll have to forgive me, my old brain can't think of it right this moment. But you know, we're so old. Yeah, so I was flipping through there and I just happened to catch a story that happened in Wisconsin over the weekend. And I felt the story was compelling enough that I needed to put out another video, even though I just put one out last night. And those of you who are on my channel regularly know that that's not how I do things usually. Normally, it takes me quite a while to get a video together. It does. No shame. I just have a hard time getting everything on film the way I want it. And without putting too much of myself in it. And once again, I find this story completely hard to do as a grandmother and a mother. That being said, I now will tell you what I saw this morning when I was scanning through these court channels. What I saw was a young man from Wisconsin who was 16 years old and was being arraigned for first-degree murder and hiding a corpse. Yeah. He and his girlfriend, who was 14 when she gave birth, I don't know if she was 13 when she got pregnant or if she was 14 when she got pregnant, but she was 14 when she gave birth. And they had the baby in a bathtub. And as far as we know, the baby was healthy. There was nothing wrong with her. They named her Harper. And they had her for about 5 days. At the end of that time, they decided that they couldn't handle taking care of her and that they would not be able to raise her. So, and here's where it gets really, really sad. So, the mom, who's 14, tells Dad, take the baby and leave it somewhere. Because that's the only thing they can think to do, because they know that they can't raise the child. Good thinking, kind of, huh? Well, Wisconsin is a safe haven state. If you do not know what a safe haven law is, I will tell you. A safe haven law means that no matter why or anything else, you can take a baby and drop it anywhere public and the state will pick up the baby and put it in foster care and take care of it and raise it, and most likely find it adoptive parents. But apparently these youngsters did not know what a safe haven state was, or that Wisconsin was one, because the father took the baby out into the woods, found a fallen tree, put his 5-day-old daughter in this tree, and shot her execution style in the head. Not once, but twice. Now, I don't know if it's getting close to the end of time or what the deal is, but as Americans, we need to figure out why so many babies are dying. Why so many babies and children are being murdered in this country or stolen. We have, on one hand, a ton of people who are having children they don't want. And on the other hand, we have people who want to have children and can't have them for whatever reason. But yet, we can't get these two groups to take care of the problem to where no babies are dying. How messed up is that? For real. So now this 16-year-old has ruined his whole life. And we have no idea what the mother who's 14 knew or didn't know, and when she knew it. If he came home and she asked what he did with the baby and he told her the truth and she didn't report it, she can go to prison just as good as he can. But, as we've all seen in these baby abuse cases, usually somehow the mom ends up getting a better deal. But we need to pay attention in this country and realize that some people are just not meant to be parents. Whatever that means. And I think that maybe my kids had a point and I was wrong. And I'm just going to say this in case you're watching. Baby, if you're watching, I'm sorry, you were right. I should have never watched not one episode of Teen Mom or I'm pregnant and so is my daughter, or anything else that glorified teen pregnancy. Because look at what is going on. This is not how the most civilized and free nation in the world should live. Is it? Especially when they lived in a state where all they had to do was give the baby away. If you leave the baby, they pick it up, make sure it has people to take care of it, and you don't have to worry about it, and they're not going to come looking for you. If it's a safe haven state, that's all. It's a no question policy. So there's absolutely no reason for you not to do it. Except for maybe if you don't know that that's what your state is. And that's what I'm saying. These children needed to be, A, taught better sex ed, and B, I know sex ed doesn't always work. It didn't, work in my case either, but I was married at least. Okay. Now, these kids lived in a safe haven state and didn't know it. That in itself to me is frightening. Because once they had the baby and they decided that they couldn't keep her, I wonder if things would have been different if Dad had realized that she just could be taken somewhere and left and it would be okay. That nobody would be looking for the parents or any such hoo-ha as that. Now we've got a 16-year-old being tried as an adult because in Wisconsin, if you're charged with first-degree murder in Wisconsin, as anyone over 15 is charged automatically as an adult. Now, they're still investigating what Mom knew and when Mom knew. And if it would happen to come out that she knew that he killed that baby and she did not report it, she'll be facing charges of her own. But it seems a little unfair that even if she gets faced with charges, she may get by with less charges than the dad who killed the baby. Because she is under 15. So she would be tried in juvenile court, which means the most she could get is like 9 years. Now, this guy is in prison for probably the rest of his life if he gets found guilty. And she's not even in any danger at this point. She's just a witness. Okay, so mom is just a witness at this point, but they're still investigating. Of course, her lawyers were calling her a victim. But I think the real tragedy here is that it's a safe haven state, and that no one seemed to know that. And I know these kids didn't think about this, but you know, it's not just them it affects. It'll affect everybody in their family. I know as a granny, it would break my heart to hear that my child killed one of my grandbabies and was in prison for it, or was going to trial for it. I know they're trying to get him moved to juvenile court, but I don't think that's going to happen. Especially because it's a safe haven state. So, I'm going to try to keep up with this story as it unfolds. I think they're about done with, they're working on the secondary bathroom right now. So I'm probably going to be moving to the other end of the house in the next week. So I may not be back for a little while, but trust me, this story is going to be in the headlines for months. Because of the whole ugliness and the whole tragedy in it. And so I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And I'll catch you in the next video whenever I get a chance to make it. And yeah. Laters.